I'm using this time to address some long-standing problems. I have this wind-filled lathe which was probably made before World War II. It has a couple of nuts on the back of the spindle which I can't turn by hand, and the solution I've come up with so far is inelegant at best. And I can never get rid of the spindle play for fear of destroying the threads. So I thought that I'd make a dedicated C-spanner for it, from 3mm mild steel. I marked out the shape and then set to work rough cutting with the angle grinder. Once I had the rough shape, there was a lot of filing to do to get the final shape just right. That's good enough for me. At this point I could have called it done, but I wanted to use this as practice for making knife handles with wooden scales. Here I'm cutting a wood turning blank from a hawthorn tree which came down in my garden. This one split, so it was no longer good for turning. I got one flat surface on each of the scales using the belt sander, and then cut them to thickness on the bandsaw. I also sanded all the mill scale off the spanner blade. I drilled 3 holes in the spanner with brass alignment pins. I then transferred the shape onto the scales and drilled the same 3 holes using the pins for alignment. After rough cutting to shape, they were ready to glue up. I used a 5-minute epoxy and then let it sit overnight to cure. In the morning, the handle profile was matched in on the belt sander, with the finer contours done on a rotary multi-tool. The brass pins were then cut down and peened. This is where the top of the pin is mushroomed out to clamp the scales to the blade a little bit better. A blast on the belt sander and it was time to take the sharp edges off using the rotary tool and the chisel. After getting a comfortable shape, there were some final touches with sandpaper, and then it was on to finishing. As usual, there was a coat of boiled linseed oil, and once that was cured, a couple of coats of spray-on polyurethane. That's much easier now, and I can get almost all the play out of the spindle. The handle is a bit chunky, but I'm definitely confident enough now for when I get round to making a real knife.